Isn't it fascinating how the mind naturally begins to notice those moments when everything you've ever learned, every skill you've ever honed, every method you've explored, practiced, refined, starts to weave itself together? Because the truth is, when you allow these different pieces to interact, intertwine and flow, something extraordinary begins to happen, doesn't it? It's as though every method, every modality, every process you've ever touched knows exactly how to find its perfect place, how to fit into the grander picture of what you're capable of creating. And when you allow yourself to simply trust that process, something profound emerges, a synergy, a resonance, a power that's far greater than any one skill, any one step, any one process on its own. And perhaps you've already started to notice those little moments when you find yourself naturally moving from one skill to another, effortlessly combining, unconsciously connecting, discovering each piece amplifies the next. So much as if the mind already knows what to do, doesn't it? Just as the fingers of a master pianist glide across the keys, weaving melodies and harmony without a thought, you can feel your skills doing the same. And isn't it wonderful the way your mind has already begun to integrate? Because even as you hear these words now, there's a part of you, a deeper part, that's already recognizing the infinite potential that comes from fractionating between skills, stacking them, building layer upon layer of insight and mastery. And maybe you wondered, or maybe you're wondering now, how it feels to realize that every single skill you developed, every technique, every tactic, every process, it's always been waiting to come together in just this way. Because the truth is, when you begin to notice, when you begin to really see how each piece adds to the next, amplifies the next, supports the next, you realize just how unstoppable you've already become. And as this realization deepens, you begin to connect more deeply with that sense of limitless possibility. You might find yourself naturally discovering new ways to integrate, to stack, to synergize. And maybe, just maybe, you'll notice how that awareness itself begins to expand effortlessly, easily, as though the more you allow this process to unfold, the more powerful, the more influential, the more harmonious you become. Because of course, the sum of the parts is always greater, isn't it? It's always greater when everything flows together, consciously, unconsciously, in harmony, in synergy. And the beauty is, you don't even have to try, do you? You can just allow it to happen. And as you do, as you continue to integrate, to fractionate, to flow, you might begin to notice how natural it feels to trust in your own power, your own brilliance, your own ability to weave all these threads together into something extraordinary. And isn't it amazing to realize how much more powerful, how much more influential, how much more aligned you've already become right here, right now? And as you continue to listen, or perhaps simply allow the words to flow through your mind, effortlessly, naturally, you might begin to realize, or perhaps just feel, how deeply this truth resonates. Because deep within you, there's already a part that understands, that knows, combining, blending, stacking, and weaving, all that you've mastered. It's not just something you do, it's who you are, isn't it? And you might begin to wonder, as that part of you grows even stronger, even more certain, what happens when these beliefs, these empowering, expansive beliefs, become so deeply embedded, they guide everything you do, without even thinking. Because every time you use a skill, every time you blend one modality with another, your unconscious mind learns, doesn't it? It learns how to amplify, expand, and multiply the results effortlessly. It's as if the mind has its own way of finding connections, building bridges between every process, every technique, every insight. Isn't it exciting to imagine how these connections, these bridges, they're strengthening even now? Because the more you engage, the more you explore, the more you trust in the synergy, the easier it becomes to notice, to feel, to know just how much more powerful you've already become. And perhaps right now your unconscious mind is already asking, What would it feel like to fully embrace this belief? To completely embody the truth that the sum of your skills, your methods, your strategies will always exceed the power of any single part. And maybe you've already started to notice how natural it feels to shift between skills, to fractionate between them, to allow one process to flow seamlessly into another. Because isn't that how the most powerful results emerge? Not from rigid steps, not from isolated techniques, but from a fluid, harmonious dance. Every part supports the whole. And even now, as your unconscious mind listens to these words, there's a growing awareness, isn't there? A recognition. This belief is not something you have to force, not something you have to think about. It's something that's already unfolding right now. Because the more you allow yourself to trust this process, the more you notice it's happening automatically, unconsciously, naturally. And maybe you've already begun to see how this belief ripples out into everything you do. How every action, every choice, every word becomes infused with the power of all your skills working together in perfect harmony. And isn't it fascinating to realize how much easier it becomes to simply allow this process to deepen? Because with every passing moment, every breath, every thought, you're reinforcing this truth, this synergy in your natural state. The combining and stacking your skills, it's something your unconscious mind already knows how to do. And as this realization deepens, as it roots itself even more firmly in your unconscious mind, you might begin to notice how much lighter, how much freer, how much more expansive it feels to trust in the synergy completely. Because when you trust, when you let go, when you allow your unconscious to take the lead, everything flows effortlessly, doesn't it? And the beauty of this process, the power of this truth, is the more you notice it happening, the more it happens. The more it happens, the more you notice it happening. And isn't that the way of mastery? Because the sum of the parts will always be greater. And you've already begun to feel how true that is, haven't you? And with every passing moment, with every word that resonates, your unconscious mind takes this belief, integrates it, expands it, and allows it to guide you naturally, effortlessly, powerfully. Because this is who you are now, isn't it? And as you continue to let these words flow, as your mind effortlessly absorbs them, consciously and unconsciously, you might already be noticing how this process is happening all by itself. Because the mind loves to find patterns, doesn't it? Discover connections, to bring together everything it's ever learned in ways that feel so natural, so easy, so right. And perhaps you're beginning to sense every skill you've mastered, every method you've explored, every process you've ever practiced. It's always been waiting for this moment where it all comes together, where every single piece enhances the other, amplifies the others, strengthens the others, naturally, effortlessly, powerfully. And isn't it fascinating how, as you think about this synergy now, your unconscious mind is already beginning to weave it deeper into your identity? Because this isn't just something you do, is it? It's something you are. A natural integrator, a creative harmony, someone whose skills and talents combine to form something truly extraordinary. And maybe you've already started to notice how easy it feels to trust the process, to allow one skill to flow seamlessly into the next, one modality to build upon another, one insight to spark a cascade of transformation. Because the more you trust, the more it happens. And the more it happens, the more you trust. And perhaps deep down, you've always known this, haven't you? Known this true power doesn't come from any single method or skill, but from the way they all combine, the way they stack, the way they multiply, the way they amplify one another in ways you couldn't have predicted, but have always felt were possible. And as this knowing deepens, as the truth becomes more and more a part of who you are, you might already be noticing how effortlessly your unconscious mind begins to integrate this belief at every level. Because this is the kind of belief that transforms everything, isn't it? It's the kind of belief that opens doors, expands possibilities, and allows you to step into your full potential. And isn't it wonderful how the mind already knows how to make this process effortless? How it knows exactly where to place this belief, how to strengthen it, how to let it ripple out into every part of your life. So every time you use your skills, every time you bring together your knowledge, you can feel that synergy growing stronger, more powerful, more aligned. And maybe you're already beginning to see, or maybe you're just beginning to sense how much more expansive your skills have already become. Because the more you allow this synergy to take root, the more it amplifies everything you do. Every action becomes more effective, every word more impactful, every choice more aligned with the deep, unconscious knowing that this is who you are. And as this belief deepens, as it strengthens, as it takes hold, you might begin to notice how much lighter, how much freer, how much more empowered you feel. Because when all your skills, all your talents, all your methods come together, it creates something unstoppable, doesn't it? Something greater than you ever imagined. And isn't it amazing to realize this process doesn't require effort. It's already happening right here, right now. Because every time you think about this synergy, every time you allow yourself to notice it, you reinforce it. And every time you reinforce it, it grows stronger. And perhaps you've already started to wonder how much more powerful you feel as this belief continues to unfold, continues to expand, continues to integrate itself into everything you do. Isn't it fascinating